Alright, let's go see how the new YouTube Rewind did this year. Wow, nearly 14 million dislikes. Not only is this a new low for YouTube Rewind, but this is a new low for YouTube in general. No, it can't be. Like, we have...
It's Friday, gotta get down on Friday.
No? Okay, well, what about this one?
Despacito, quiero respirar tu cuello despacito.
It's the most viewed video on YouTube, surely it... Seriously? Oh, what about that one song that everybody hated back last year?
It's everyday, bro, with the Disney Channel flow.
Wow, really? Ah, I know one song that must have more dislikes. Alright then, I see how it is. Keep in mind that this rewind has the least amount of views out of all of them, apart from Rebecca Black Friday, and is also the most recent out of all of these to be uploaded, that being only like a few weeks ago. Which, by the way, yes, I know I'm quite late to this video, so sorry. I mean, that is pretty impressive. But is all the hate warranted? I mean, part of me thinks that most people just left a dislike to try and get to the most disliked video, and it worked. I mean, they probably did that for a good reason, that being to protest against YouTube's, like, new kind of policy and all that, and everything that's wrong with YouTube. I think that's kind of has to do with it. But how bad was the rewind? What did it do right? What did it do wrong? How does it compare to other rewinds? And what's gonna happen in next year's rewind? Or will there even be one? Probably, but you never know. I'm going to be giving you some of my thoughts on the rewind, and I'm also going to be looking at some of the other rewinds of previous years. And by the way, I'm trying to reach 100 subscribers by the end of the year. We're getting pretty close, so any help would be much appreciated. Now let's get into it. So the first YouTube Rewind started in 2010, and the video was titled YouTube Rewind 2010, Year in Review, and it was uploaded on December 13th, 2010. This basically just contained a lot of old YouTube clips from 2010. They weren't old back then, obviously, but they're old now, is what I'm trying to say. It contained basically the top 10 YouTube videos of that year, including the Bed Intruder song, a TikTok parody, no, not that TikTok, I mean the song by Keisha, as well as Justin Bieber meeting a fan on Jimmy Kimmel. And yes, I'm talking about 2010 teenage Justin Bieber, you know, when he was pretty much hated by everybody, as well as the Annoying Orange and many more viral videos at that time. Now this rewind only has around 5 million views at the time of me making this, but it was pretty well received, getting 45,000 likes and only 3,000 dislikes. But this was just the beginning of what YouTube Rewind would eventually become. They continued to put out a new rewind every year after that. The next one would get more than twice as many views, but the like to dislike ratio was about 50-50, getting slightly more likes than dislikes. I'm guessing the reason why was because Rebecca Black was pretty much hosting the thing, making an appearance in the intro and outro, as well as her song Friday being the #1 video of that year on the list. And as you know, people don't really like her or that song, so I'm assuming that's why 2011 was also quite a hated year in Rewind. Then we had 2012, which was really well received. I mean, when you think about it, they did include a lot of stuff regarding like Gangnam Style and stuff like that, similar to how the 2018 Rewind contained a lot of Fortnite in it. But there was still some, I guess, variety. That was back when people, I guess, liked that stuff, and when YouTube wasn't as much as a hated platform as a corporation that it is now. I guess that's probably why people's attitude towards YouTube was still better back then, and I guess people really liked the Gangnam Style craze back then, as opposed to people not liking Fortnite or something like that, I don't know. But yeah, the 2012 Rewind was pretty much the first to blow up, getting almost 190 million views to date. 2013 was also well received. It did have a lot of relevant trends and YouTubers and songs in it. It had What Does the Fox Say, Harlem Shake, all the stuff you'd expect. And it even had PewDiePie in it that year. Then there was the 2014 YouTube Rewind. This one was actually pretty good, and it did seem to include pretty much everything that was popular in 2014, as well as it contained many relevant YouTubers, again, including PewDiePie. In fact, I think it opened with PewDiePie. Same thing can be said for the 2015 Rewind. Both also contained many relevant songs of that year. Then there was 2016, which was the start of the decline. Now, I'm pretty sure that this rewind was the first one to open with someone who was not a YouTuber. I mean, I don't know if you want to consider Rebecca Black to be a YouTuber, so maybe not. But it was pretty much the first one to open up with like a mainstream celebrity, which was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And of course, in the rewind, they had the song Sorry playing, which was actually from late 2015, but I guess it was still popular in 2016 too, so that's kind of a nitpick. One thing to note about the 2016 Rewind was that it didn't have Leafy in it, and if you didn't know, Leafy was pretty much one of the biggest YouTubers of 2016. So I don't know why they didn't well, actually, I kind of do know why they didn't include him, because, you know, they didn't really like his content, let's be honest. And they also didn't include a lot of other commentary YouTubers like Grade A Under A, Keemstar, Scarce, H3H3, iDubbbz, you name it. But I mean, other than that, it pretty much got it down. And 2016 is the most viewed rewind to date, with almost 230 million views. Then there was 2017, which up until 2018 was the most controversial. I mean, up until 2016, YouTube rewinds would get way more likes than dislikes. In 2016, the dislikes started to catch up with 3.6 million likes to about 550,000 dislikes, but in 2017, the video got half as many dislikes as likes, with around 4 million likes and 2 million dislikes. Not as bad as this year, but still pretty bad. However, it is the most liked rewind of them all. I'm pretty sure one of the reasons it got so much hate was because, well, you can just watch EmpLemon's video on it. I think I'll leave a link if I can remember. But he basically talked about how everything bad happened that year, and he wanted to get YouTube Rewind to the most disliked video to try and show YouTube that, hey, that things are going bad. The YouTube Rewind itself was, I guess fairly average, very typical to what you'd expect it to be. It had a lot of people like Jake Paul, Logan Paul, KSI, you know, the mainstream YouTubers that you'd think of. And it was definitely better than this year's Rewind because it had more YouTubers that were like not in this year's Rewind that could have been. Like, I'm pretty sure we had people like Jacksepticeye and Tomska, you know, people like that, and Rhett and Link, you know, YouTubers that I don't think were in the 2018 Rewind, if I remember, that could have been and probably should have been. But you know what, let's get on to the real core of this video, which is the 2018 YouTube Rewind. So 2018 YouTube Rewind is regarded as not only the worst YouTube Rewind, but the worst YouTube video, period. First thing to note is that once again, they started with a celebrity, Will Smith in this case, instead of a YouTuber. Second of all, this rewind takes a more of a skit-like approach rather than a music video approach. You know, I mean, most of the rewinds up until this point were like entirely music videos, but this one was way more like a skit and had like dialogue and stuff, you know. It did have some music videos sprinkled in there, but it was, I think for the most part, a skit. I guess people didn't really like the whole skit approach to the video. Maybe that's not it, but that could have been one of the reasons, maybe. But that's not the only reason. Another thing is that there was a heavy emphasis on Fortnite. And while yeah, I agree that is kind of annoying, the truth is that yeah, like it or not, Fortnite was one of the biggest parts of 2018 and the biggest games of 2018. But at the same time, they may have kind of overdone it a bit or a lot, if you want to call it that. Realistically, I'm sure they could have gotten away with just dedicating a small scene in the rewind to Fortnite. Moving on from that, another thing is that they missed quite a bit of the big YouTubers that should have been in there, as well as they placed YouTubers that most people don't know about in it. First of all, I saw no commentary YouTubers in the rewind, but at this point that's to be expected, as they never include commentary channels in the rewinds. I just don't think they like commentary channels, which sucks because commentary is quite a big part of YouTube. Let's not lie here. And before you say, well, commentary channels aren't big enough, Memulus has 2.8, I think, million subscribers. Pyrocynical has 2.8 million subscribers. Kavos has over 1 million. I'm Alex has over 1 million. Even if you want to call iDubbbz a commentary YouTuber, kinda is. He has 7 million. H3H3 has like 6 million, I think. But they're not small YouTubers. Like, they have a lot of subscribers. Not 10 million, but still, I think they're big enough to be put in the rewind. It's just that YouTube doesn't want to put them in, I guess. But I mean, it's their choice, I guess. Like, we can't really stop them, but I mean, it'd be nice to have some commentators though in the YouTube rewind, just saying. But yeah, for the most part, they just contained a lot of the like family-friendly, like vlogger kind of YouTubers or makeup channels, you know. But some of the YouTubers that they missed that should have been in this rewind are people like Shane Dawson, Doug DeMuro, Jacksepticeye, Jax Films, Mr. Beast, Ali A, Higa Higa, Vanos Gaming, Vsauce, Jake and Logan Paul, KSI, Keemstar, PewDiePie especially, and the list goes on. However, here are some people that did get on. Ninja, Markiplier, ASAP Science, James Charles, Casey Neistat, The Odd Ones Out, Domix, Jaden Animations, Lily Singh, Casper, and many more. Although to be fair, I didn't know most of the people on there, and even if I did know them, I still most likely didn't really watch their content much. I think the majority of the people I watch on YouTube have under 1 million subs, and even under 100k sometimes. But obviously YouTube wouldn't put them into the rewind, because they are way too small channels. They have to have at least a couple million subs to make it into the rewind, because they might not know who a channel with 300k subs is. Like Mumpky Jones, who just got terminated wrongfully. But then again, we have like all these people who I don't know who they are. I guess some people do though, so I guess there's that. But then again, some people would know who the 300k channels are too, you know. Although I kind of do get it, because I mean the smaller channels there are way more of, so I guess it's hard to pick between like 100,000 channels with over 100,000 subscribers, so it's easier to pick from the channels with over 1 million because there are fewer of them. So that's another reason probably why they do it. Just need to add that in. Another thing is that they missed some of the trends and memes in 2018 too. I'll just name a few that I can think of. KSI vs Logan Paul, Laurel vs Yanni, Howard the Alien, Baldi's Basics, Thanos, Uganda Knuckles, Crab Rave, TikTok, Dame Tukasita, Lil Tay, Johnny, PewDiePie vs T-Series, and probably many more, because there were quite a lot of them. Although they managed to include some like Yodeling Kid, Baby Shark, I Love It, Bongo Cat, In My Feelings Challenge, and of course Fortnite. Also in terms of music, they definitely missed a lot of the rap that was popular this year, but I guess that stuff is too mature for Rewind. One song I would have loved for them to feature in the Rewind is this song Ignite by K391 and Alan Walker. I would have especially liked the scene with the headphones and the teleportation thing. Why couldn't they have done that? It would have worked pretty well for the Rewind, I think. And before you say the song isn't popular enough, it has like 140 million views. I think that is more than popular enough. But they did include some K-pop, I'm pretty sure it's BTS, and they include the song I Like It by Cardi B, and In My Feelings by Drake, and a few other songs. Lastly, there was this whole You Control Rewind, which, no we don't really, YouTube does, so yeah. I just think there could have been much more in this year's Rewind. There was a lot of room for improvement. But was this really the worst thing ever? Well, not exactly, but in comparison to other rewinds, it probably is one of the worsts, if not the worst rewind so far. But here's hoping it won't be topped, or bottomed, or whatever. But to be fair, YouTube missing a few references is kind of annoying, but it's not exactly the end of the world if X YouTuber or X trend isn't in the YouTube Rewind. I think this Rewind was probably hated so much because people were gradually starting to hate Rewind more and more as time went on, slowly getting more annoyed with YouTube not listening, and this was the straw that broke the camel's back. Think of it as like the Call of Duty Infinite Warfare of YouTube Rewinds. People were getting sick of Call of Duty being futuristic, but Infinite Warfare was the final straw, and that game was the most hated at that point. Sure, the game may not have been that bad, but Call of Duty players still didn't like it compared to other games in the series. So that is why the following year, Call of Duty went back to World War II, boots on the ground, old school Call of Duty. I think that YouTube may try to do something like that next year, go back to the old school style rewinds that were so loved by many people, or they may just cancel it entirely. They may think, hey, if people don't like it, let's stop making them. But I don't think they'll do that. YouTube Rewind is a good thing for the most part. The idea of it is good, it's a tradition that should stick around, and it's just something that YouTube always does. I think YouTube just needs to try and improve it next year. One thing that would be interesting is if they made a Rewind made entirely out of creators with under 1 million subscribers. That would be interesting and would help out the smaller YouTubers who actually need the promotion, more than the big channels do. And besides, the smaller channels also make up a large chunk of YouTube, but are pretty much never featured in YouTube Rewind. But yeah, here's hoping that YouTube will learn and fix Rewind for next year. It'd be really sad, but also kind of funny if next year somehow ended up being worse than this year, if that's even possible. But anyways, thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the L button for like, and the S button for subscribe. We're trying to reach 100 subscribers by the end of the year, so any help would be appreciated. Anyways, thanks for watching, and peach.